your company has been in the news, to say the very least, in the lead up to Cannes. I'm sure you saw the Wall Street Journal story saying that pressure tactics were being used against the likes of Verizon, Ralph Lauren, to get these big companies to advertise on your platform. Now, there was no comment in that story. Where do things stand right now? I want to open up the table to you.
So this is how it's going. This is how we're starting. You're right. There was no comment in the article. There was also no named sources in the article. They had some random third parties comment on unnamed sources. So with the absence of both facts and named sources, and then the absence of the setup of the story, which was the House Judiciary Committee's findings and evidence that addressed a real coming together to boycott the platform. That was really the story and what precipitated any type of further inquiry from the House Judiciary Committee. So it was X who was conspired against. So that being said, I'm not in a position to talk about their business, but when you're in a position of the trajectory of where that business is going, it's really about what we're doing here in Cannes this week and talking about the historic evolution of the platform. And the historic evolution of the platform for 96% of our advertisers coming back, and a tidal wave of new advertisers coming back. Think about partners that want to be in the gaming conversation, that want to be in the AI conversation. It happens on X. Why? Because X has emerged as the world's most consequential culture signal. And when you sit in that position to be the mirror and the microphone of the world's real-time conversation, that's why the historic turnaround of X has happened.
Do you believe these big companies are conspiring against X and the things that you want to do in terms of trying to grow the platform?
Here's what I think about our partners on X. Our partners on X are embracing the scope of our ambition, the pace of the innovation, and really, really leaning in to the consequential dominance of our platform. When you think about it, a little over 2 years, almost 2.5 years ago, when Elon bought the company, we were 280 character messaging app with a minute or two of video. I mean, the platform.
I've been on since 2011,
well.
I think.
Thank you for that.
I'm verified, Linda.
Thank you for that. But when you think about the evolution in that short period of time, when you're looking at nearly 300 product innovations that have been rolled out in that short period of time, most other companies don't do that in a decade. So now when you look at a platform that is already with video capabilities, right? Up to 4 hours of video, soon to be unlimited video. Think about just that piece of the capability sophistication. That's why there's growth all over the platform. Gen Z is driving that growth. 40% increase in viewer consumption, video consumption versus year ago. That's why our customer base is growing extraordinarily well, particularly driven by Gen Z. And when you look at Gen Z, that by 2030 is going to have a spending power of $36 trillion, you have to be where the growth is. And our advertisers follow the eyeballs, and those eyeballs and growth is on X.
Do these stories make it harder to have the conversations you need to have here at a key event like Cannes?
Well, considering I don't have a minute to spare, what's exciting about the conversations and the meetings that we're having is about, again, the historic evolution and success of X. Look what we've been doing under everyone's noses. What it requires my team is to keep your head down, do the work, forget the noise, because the insatiable lure of a clickbait article, we're used to that, right? But when you look at video, when you look at the impact of Grok on the platform, and you look at X Money about to launch in the US, that's when you look at, oh my gosh, that was the vision of the Everything app all along.
I'll go here, X Money. I was going to save this to the end. You can confirm that it's going to launch this year, and what is that?
X Money is another example of us leaning into and really maturing into the Everything app. So think about it simply said. All the scope of the ambition and pace of the innovation at X since Elon acquired the company, there's really no peer, right? So you think about what is the Everything app. It's more people coming to the platform, spending more time to do more things. So when you're able to ultimately have financial services on the platform, imagine we'll launch with peer-to-peer payments, stored value, pay a creator. I could pay you for the pizza that you hopefully will buy me tonight, right? So think about that capability. Shortly after that, you will have investments and trades. You'll be able to live your whole financial life on the platform.
And this is all launching this year?
Yeah. We'll start in the US and then there'll be quick follow with expansion globally. But imagine what that creates. It's big lure for creators on the platform. We'll be able to buy merchandise, tip a creator. Imagine the content that then flocks to the platform. So in a whole commerce ecosystem will really emerge and thrive on the platform. So it's really exciting next step in the evolution of the Everything app.
How is Elon's involvement with the administration, his work with Doge, how has that impacted the work you're doing on the ad side of the business?
Again, we concentrate on the innovation that we've delivered, the product enhancements, the growth of the platform that advertisers are interested. What are they interested in? They're interested in this world's most consequential culture signal, right? So when you take the culture signal that only X can deliver, it's the only platform that has real-time conversation data. How can an advertiser infuse itself in real time into a conversation of the consumer they're trying to reach? That's their North Star. And now that X is being fueled so aggressively by AI, I'm sure you know, being on the platform, about Grok's impact on the platform, that's the North Star for an advertiser. And those are the conversations that we're having with them here at the conference.
So these big brands, like some of the names I mentioned, Verizon and Ralph Lauren, they're opening up their checkbooks again and they're back on X.
We have a lot of great partners.
Okay, fair enough. eMarketer recently put out a report suggesting that your global ad revenue would rise 16.5% a year. That's a pretty good number. If it's
I didn't hear the number.
eMarketers.
Oh, no, they said 16%?
16.5%.
Okay.
What do you think about that growth rate for this year? Is that trending, are you trending above that? And what is your outlook for ad revenue for X?
I think they're being conservative. And what I would say is that the growth is consistent. The growth is driven by an extraordinary expansion of capabilities that is driving growth on the platform. And then again, advertisers follow eyeballs. But you also have to think about advertising is just a piece of their revenue at the company. You have three pieces of revenue. You have advertising, you have our API or data developer platform, and you have premium subscriptions. And then soon you will have X Money on the platform. So I'm assuming that eMarketer number is probably a prediction at the end of last year or for 25, and it probably was just looking at ad revenue, which is also growing at an extraordinary pace.
Will ad revenue this year for X be higher than pre-acquisition?
It's really hard to imagine the growth of the revenue at X and predict it into the future, right? And that's what we're talking about, is just we're talking about a different company. So really super exciting, big expansion of our partner base, and maybe you invite me back on your show at the end of the year and we could talk about how we busted through all those numbers.
I'm saving this. I am going to actually invite you back on the show. Is X profitable? Does it make money?
X in such a really good position, and actually when you look at our recent acquisition that our younger sister company, XAI, acquired X. Imagine the growth and extraordinary meaning of the world's most powerful AI company coming together uniquely with a media platform. You could just, an overused analogy for our new company is the trajectory of a rocket ship, and I would say that that's pretty accurate.
Sounds like profits. I mean, the valuation
Sounds like we're having a great year.
Okay, all right, that's fair. How will XAI be integrated into that X business? Like, what should people expect?
Well, XAI is already having a profound impact on the company. If you think about it, XAI, one of the world's fastest growing, definitely smartest AI company. So imagine the lure to the greatest talent in the world at XAI, right? Most powerful AI models, because it's driven by the most powerful amount of compute in the world, driven by the most powerful computer known as Colossus, stood up in only 122 days out of Memphis, Tennessee, right? You know that, right? So you think about that, and then you take X, right? So a massive social media platform with nearly 600 million monthly active users that uniquely have that real-time conversation and data. You bring those two companies together, and there's no surrogate for that. There's no company like that. So Grok, which is our model out of XAI, is having profound impact on the platform and then already working hard at tremendous product improvements like powering our timeline. So you're a big user on the platform. Power user, thank you for that. How great has your timeline and your For You feed gotten? So Grok is already having a great impact on your content recommendation, content moderation, and search on the platform.
Very interesting moment here in social media. We're coming up against the June 19th deadline for the TikTok ban. Do you think TikTok should be banned?
We don't believe any social media platform should be banned. We don't think it's good for the ecosystem. And look at us, protecting free speech around the world. And we hope we hope that they'll work things out and it'll be part of the ecosystem.
But if they don't exist, I mean, that's a big tailwind for X, no?
Of course it would be beneficial, but my answer remains the same. We don't think any platform being banned is good for the ecosystem.
You mentioned the push or the focus now in bringing that vision to life on making X the super app. How many subscribers do you have on the platform, and how much revenue do you bring in from them?
I already told you that the revenue breakdown on the company is growing extraordinarily. The subscriber growth is growing double digits every quarter, and the impact of Grok and Grok's improvement is really accelerating that growth, so we're super excited. It's why the success of creators coming to the platform. Khloe Kardashian. I have thrown out 2 or 3 models of what we think the ceiling should be on the performance of the Khloe in Wonderland podcast. Also, I would say that success has led to the announcements that I'll be doing a lot of talks on this week with, you may have heard of Serena and Venus Williams.
I have.
That'll be bringing their video podcast to the platform later in the summer. So super excited about that global icons, influencers, brand ambassadors coming to the platform, because they know that if you want to be in the current conversation with the generation that's going to lead your career to the future, you got to be on X. You got to be in that real-time culture conversation, because moments that matter most drop on the platform. That's where it happens. If you want to see what's happening or unfolding in any cultural moment, there is no surrogate.
Linda,
you're a super user of the platform. So is there a surrogate?
No, I mean, I'm an X user. I have been for quite some time. I hear what you're working on. I hear the growth rates, and you're telling me about the business. Do you envision a day that X is a public company again? You have a great story to tell.
Working at X for a little over 2 years, nothing's ever off the table. and really the mindset of what's possible is always encouraged.
Lastly, on a personal note, I've talked to a couple executives here that know you, and they've told me privately that they say, I don't know how Linda does that job. She's working her ass off, but wow, that's a tough gig. How do you do it, Linda? From the tweets, of course, we saw Elon's dust up with the president. We saw the restructurings you're working on, the turnaround. I mean, how do you handle it all?
You know, it's been a little over 2 years, and I approach the job every day with the same amount of enthusiasm and drive that I did on day one, right? When you get the opportunity at this point in anyone's career, right? So I had a really terrific job at Comcast NBCU. But when you get the opportunity to take your business experience and combine it with a mission-driven role, which was protecting free speech around the world to help ensure and wrap a safety blanket around free speech, which leads to the success of democracy, who wouldn't want to take that opportunity of a lifetime? So you mention all of those other things. Those other things that you mention is real life and living out loud on the platform. That's why the platform has become so consequential. So when I think about what has driven me the most, it's been the vision of that innovation unfolding, and that's happened. But transformation, addressing skeptics, that's not easy for anybody, but let me tell you something. The byproduct, where we are now, is the most rewarding thing that anyone could ever experience in their lifetime, because the historic turnaround has been just an incredibly joyful thing to an experience, and an incredible outcome to our team at X. Imagine the day-to-day jobs, putting the noise out, keeping your head down, doing the work, and now what's been happening under everybody's nose, now they're starting to see it. Oh my God, they meant what they said, and they came and delivered the Everything app. So that's what's been so fulfilling, and I'm happy for the team.
So you would do it all over again?
In a minute.